Hi, my name is Jeff Houchens. I'm here with Josh Inzer, and we're here to present Trash Hand. Trash Hand is a top-down standard playing card game that's going to be available for Steam on the PC for the iOS or Windows. The premise of Trash Hand is that it has the reverse requirements of a typical card game, where the player needs to collect as many cards that do not match uh, instead of like sets of cards. The game requires good memory skills, recall skills, and strategy, which we'll go over in the mechanics. It has a fast and simple pace to it, and it implements the waging, memory recall, stealing, collecting, and win-loss mechanics. And it gives the players options to bluff their opponents in strategic ways.
What is Trash Hand? Trash Hand setup phase starts off with 10 cards being dealt to each player through the RNG. As the turns progress, a player may steal or draw from the deck, removing any sets of three of a kind, four of a kind, or straights with the same suit to the discard pile. Player choices are based upon whether or not the player wants to wager any card that's in his hand against whether or not it's going to wind up adversely affecting his card count at the end of the game. The overall objective of the game is to have the most amount of non-set cards in your hand at the game once the final card total is tallied.
In the screen layout, we have four different areas. We have the player hand, the memory card area, which will be explained in the mechanics, the main deck, and the discard pile.
As you can note here, the methods of the waging. On this second slide of waging, you notice where it shows the two queens and whether or not there's a possibility of another queen popping up. In order to get rid of that possibility, a queen is laid face down and memorized, in which plays into the next aspect of our mechanics. At the end of the game, memory recall portion, a pop-up window comes up in which the player inputs what number, ace through king, the player may have placed down. In this example, 7 is the number that was guessed and played. Therefore, no adverse effects happen to the player's hand. If the player guesses incorrectly, one card per incorrect guess is taken from the hand at the end of the game. In the steal mechanic, a player may take a card from the draw pile or steal a card from another player. In the case of the Queen of Diamonds being stolen from the adverse player, the card itself does not create a three of a kind, B, a four of a kind, or C, a straight of the same suit out of the player's hand. Therefore, it becomes a part of the player's hand and is not sent to the discard pile. The collect mechanic is standard with any card playing game. You draw a card from the deck and collect it inside your hand. Now the win-loss mechanic. You have 11 cards in your hand at the end of the game. You correctly guess 3 that you place down in your memory card area. At the end of the game, the total tallied number of cards is 14. In this example, the 14 cards outwon the 13 carded adversary.
So some card games or some games that are competitors with our game include Rummy, Memory, and Go Fish. Rummy works to have the best sets in your hand. Um, Memory is a game where you have to memorize cards before they're flipped over, and then Go Fish, you're taking cards from other players.
And that concludes the end of our presentation. If you have any questions or would like to see any other games by Team Nomads, please contact Jeff Houchens or Joshua Inzer with any questions.